Obscure Expedition 33 on the thumbnail, and you're like, hold on, whoa. Is this some clickbait? This is not an Xbox game, but this is talking about Xbox cooking, and then you look at the title, Xbox finally cooking or newfound praise undeserved. Hear me out here, okay? Because we got a lot of things in relation to this game and other games that are not exclusive Xbox titles, but there's an Xbox element that has been very pillar in boosting these titles up and giving them an opportunity to even shine. So hear me out, because we can't ignore things like day and date and Game Pass when it comes to games like Clear Obscure or Atom Fall, which is one of my personal favorites right now, and so forth and so forth. That's in Game Pass right now over the last several months, or coming to Game Pass. We cannot ignore that even though those games are multi-plat, even the Xbox first party games, them being available in day and date means something to consumers. Okay. Now, a lot of people may say, well, yeah, I feel you, MM. And you know what? I'm with you. Even though Clear Obscure clearly isn't multi-plat, and clearly the best place to play for all intents and purposes would be the PlayStation 5 Pro, if you have the Pro, because I believe Clear Obscure is going to be Pro enhanced, right? That being said, the reluctancy to say, you know what, all this stuff hitting Game Pass, the Oblivion remake, like stuff like this hitting all at once or all within a more suitable cadence within the last few months, why isn't Xbox getting any credit for that being day and date and Game Pass? Is this a case of the Xbox tax as far as recognition, or is the praise missing something and shooting over the moon? Let's talk about it, people. It's your boy, MM2K of Hard Knock Digital Culture, Cloud Dosage in here. MM2K Gaming back again with another episode of The Dosage. This is where we do our shorter videos talking about the latest and greatest in the video game sphere, excuse me. But before we get into that sphere, do us a huge favor. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, rock those bells for notifications, please, so you know when we're dropping these doses. All right, so let's get into it. Again, the aforementioned Clear Obscure Expedition Baba 33, whatever the hell that long name is, right? Great title. I love it. It's going to be the premiere. Oh, I love the prospects of this game. It's going to be the main title that we showcase here for this particular video, because it is one that I'm got to be honest with you, I'm really excited to get my hands on this title. It's getting a lot of praise. Like, it's crazy the praise that this game is getting. Like across the board, reviewers and gamers alike are like, yeah, this is a game of the year. This is definitely a game of the year entrant, or it's the game of the year winner, right? They're saying one or the other. So what I would like to do is I would like to take this opportunity to look at Clear Obscure, Atom Fall, and all these other games being in Game Pass, and then ponder upon the question, is this a case again of people overlooking what Xbox is doing as far as getting these games day and date and Game Pass? Or is it a case of people capping for something happening at Xbox where it's like an element that should be praised versus the entire, you know what I'm saying? What do you call it? The entire outfit over at Xbox or Microsoft Gaming getting praised. Well, first and foremost, let's take a look at what's going on here. And again, I know this is a multi-plat, but you guys we can't overlook the fact that this game that you see on your screen is actually coming to Game Pass day and date. It's the equivalent, like, just imagine if Baldur's Gate, from the reception that it's getting now, it's not as big, actually as big as Baldur's Gate as far as reception. Right now, here, let me show you this right here. Right now, it's sitting at a 92 on Metacritic, which is pretty good for particularly for an indie game. But right now, as it stands, this is 2025's Baldur's Gate, right? As far as like big reception for an RPG that really comes out of nowhere and shocks everybody, right? Like, I think a lot of people was expecting Baldur's Gate to be a solid title. I didn't think they were expecting that. And I think Clear Obscure is a title maybe not as, piercing and as effective in the gaming community, but I think it's one that is in that same vein. Really comes out of nowhere, shocks a lot of people because it's turn-based RPG in a vein, you know what I mean? But it's a 92 right now, and it's coming day and date to Game Pass. So, and someone like myself, where I normally just indulge in PC Game Pass, I have Game Pass Ultimate. That gives me access to the console version, and the PC version, and the cloud access, and I got that for $8. I found that on kingun.net, and got, it was like, because what I do is I let my subscription lapse every month. I'm not paying for a particular time period where there might be games that I don't like. Now this time is a little different because, again, 3 games that I'm really interested in that I didn't have to buy that normally I would have had to pay. Let's see here, $150 for. I saved myself $150, and so far I've paid probably $15 for the access to all 3 of them. And that is Clear Obscure, that is Atomfall, and that is the Oblivion remake. Now again, I am in the vein with people, and I get where people are saying, okay, MM, you're celebrating being a cheapskate. No, I'm not doing that. Hear me out. Because I am all about, now I'm gonna tell you where I would prefer to play these games. My number one place to play these, right now in the introductory phase is through Game Pass. It's through PC Game Pass, or in this case, this month, Game Pass Ultimate. I would prefer, if I'm going to make a long-term commitment to a game, I would prefer to do it first on my PlayStation 5, secondly on PC, because I don't have an Xbox. But even though I don't have an Xbox, this is a way for Xbox to still tap into me as a consumer and get at least a dime from me where they wouldn't get anything. Because if my options were, you got to buy an Xbox for this, let's see here, none of the 3 games that I named were exclusive, so I would not be buying an Xbox for access to those games. So yeah, it's smart partnerships to go with Game Pass, and even smarter because they can get the dime for me. And if I'm like, you know what, I really like what I'm playing here, like in the case with Atomfall, I might just go and, I don't know if you want to call it double dip, but I might just go and buy it on the PlayStation 5. Because I do like playing on my Pro. I want to build up a library there. And more importantly, because I feel like that, even though, with the 4080 tier on GeForce Now, I'm getting 1% gaming, and I'm getting gaming that, only the top 1% PC gamers can experience. I really feel like that with the PlayStation 5 Pro as of late, the optimization that is coming to these games as of late, they're being taken more seriously. I don't know if it's because it's an added addition or next leap of the PSSR technology or PlayStation 5 Pro technology, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what it is, but I really feel like I want to build my library then. So if I'm going to dedicate and purchase a game, I'm most likely to purchase it for PlayStation 5. If I want to just trial the game and see what it's like, that's where PC Game Pass steps in. So you're talking about $150 worth of games that, because in this era you're really short pressed to not be able to try games like how you used to in the 360 generation. Me having access to PC Game Pass, me being able to play it on GeForce Now Ultimate on the 4080 tier and get that great output and performance. it shows me the best of the game, and then it helps cater my decision if I want to invest in it even further. So again, that whole pool of Game Pass opening up avenues, finally with more attractive games day and date, that can't be overlooked, right? And then because of this, now you got people, you even got PlayStation fans. I've seen PlayStation fans on Twitter say, hey, look, if Xbox would have stayed in there a little bit longer and competed instead of capitulating to PlayStation, they'd be kicking their rear end in 2025. They'd be kicking their rear end in 2025. And there might be some truth to that, but it ain't happening. They capitulated. They bent the knee. But if there's one thing you haven't noticed, now some of you may have picked it up. You know what I mean? Some of you may have picked it up and said, hold on, Moss, you're doing what everybody else is doing. And what is that? That is trying to give credit to all of Xbox when really the credit and the temporary credit for now just simply goes to Game Pass. Because when you want to look at Xbox, you got to look at three things, because we can't forget that the entire gaming effort is Windows gaming. So when you look at Xbox, you got to look at it at three tiers, which the very top tier is the ecosystem. The second tier is Game Pass. And then the very third tier is, okay, what games do you get day and date that you can't get anywhere else? And I'm not just talking about Game Pass, I'm just talking about on the ecosystem altogether. So let's look at the ecosystem, which is, I unmute our mics and we are live. What is up, everybody? It's your boy MM. It's your boy Cold Blood. We're here with another episode of In a Row Podcast. This is actually episode 102. I need to add that in the description. But while I'm fixing that, what's up, Cold Blood? What's going on, good brother? How you been, man?
Hey, bro. I'm good. Like, I had vacation the whole week, so I was gaming a lot.
That's what's up, man. I'm just looking at the hold on, let me put Marathon in here as the the number one game of the century. We're gonna put Marathon in here, and then what else do I need to do? I need to, this is the Brad Sams. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay. So that's good, man. You've been getting some gaming in. What you been able to play on? What you been gaming on, brother?
I beat Expedition 33.
Oh, word. Oh, okay. Good.
I platinumed Oblivion Remastered.
Oh, okay.
And I started the DLC in Kingdom Come Deliverance too.
Oh, okay. How are you at shit? You have been doing some games.
Oh, and I played the first 4 missions of Doom: The Dark Ages yesterday.
Oh, okay. So you is that your game of the year? Is that what you were trying to tell us?
It's the most safe game of the year.
The most safe. Oh shoot. I had, what's going on here? Stream Elements, or okay, something just happened here on my what's it called, and I can't see it for some reason, but that's all right. I'll fix that later. What's up, Andrew Wilkins? What's up, Nathan G? We got Extra in the house. Extra says Cold Blood. What's good? Says Extra.
What's up?
We got Andrew Wilkins is cutting up already, man. Hey, Andrew, what we tell you, man? What we tell you, man? Stop. Yeah, stop.
Would
Stop throwing butcher knives at that picture of Phil Spencer you got, man. He said Xbox is still trash. Call of Duty is now garbage. Xbox fans all hate black people. Jeez, what the fuck? He said so South of Midnight didn't sell. Indiana Jake is trash. Forza Horizon always sell low. Microsoft has always been trash in gaming. Hey, bro, I keep telling you, you gotta learn how to exempt the 360 era. I told you about that. Now, all about this Grand Dragon Xbox, I don't know, but we'll deal with that later. He says Doom looks like another example of game being disappointing under micro success. Now that one, that's not far-fetched, man. I'm not hearing such great stuff. High on Life says laugh my ass off. He ain't wrong.
He had the whole shopping list of what is that?
Oh hell yeah! He was working on that list all week. He was just, sitting in the bathroom filling that motherfucker out. Golly, woo! Well, I'm glad you could get that off your chest, Andrew. He said, "Fuck them, fuck they water, fuck they grandmammy."
Now, we need someone that has the shopping list for both PlayStation and Nintendo.
Oh yeah. Hey, look. I gotta pre-warn y'all, Andrew. Don't run. This is I mean, Xbox, I agree with you. Xbox this generation is always trash, and last generation too, definitely. Always trash, but this is not a great week for PlayStation, bro. And it's just bad across the board. It's not a great week for Nintendo. They put them specs out there, and I thought the Switch 2 was a wristwatch. God damn. What the fuck? And the same with the new Xbox. Oh my God. I thought the new Switch was a wristwatch. I thought the new Xbox was a goddamn cassette player and shit. What the hell is going on here? But hit that like button as y'all come in here. Hit that like button. If you're members, I deeply apologize, members, for the lack of content last week. Just briefly, had a big time schedule change. I'm now working from 6 to 3. That started today. And then I had to stay over an extra hour to take care of something. So yeah, the content scheduling is going to change. We're still going to do NRO podcast. That's why it's a little bit late. It was a couple hours later, but we're going to shoot for it to be at 4 p.m. every day. I mean, every Friday. Tuesdays, I'm going to try to do something. Cold Blood may or may not be able to make those because it's in the middle of the week and it's late at night.
Well, next week I can, but
okay.
But after that, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, we're trying to figure this out because this was just thrown in our laps out of nowhere. So we're trying to figure it out as we go. But yeah, we're still gonna be doing. I'll still be doing some videos when I can. I'll still chop out gameplay when I can. But as far as like the shows, I can say right now Tuesdays and Fridays will be the podcast. Tuesdays we're gonna be doing NRO podcast. I mean NRO mic check. Cold Blood will be joining us next week. He said. We'll see after that. Tuesdays at 5. We'll be doing that. And here on YouTube at 4 p.m. every Friday, we're going to be doing NRO podcast. So, you know, it is what it is. People can't, you know, I had the luxury of working from home for 7 years and tried to fight it, but, you know, just didn't work out. Juice says it was a great week for Sony. 31. Oh man, come on. All right, let me clarify. It wasn't a great week for PlayStation gamers. Like, and let me preface it with this. If you're a PlayStation gamer, there is no HDMI port for Sony's money. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't connect Sony's money to an HDMI port and enjoy the VRR off their cash and play a great game. I can't do that. That's for Sony to go jump and dive into like Scrooge McDuck. That's for them to enjoy and rub across their nipples like Puff Daddy and shit. I can't enjoy their money. I enjoy their games. So as it relates to games and how they're going to approach games, particularly in the future, they sound Phil Spencer-ish out here, for one. And then for two, this whole live service thing is like, they look like Wile E. Coyote out here trying to hit the Roadrunner with a stick of dynamite, and the dynamite, you know, they throw it from the right hand and accidentally throw it to the left hand. It's not looking good out here. So I want to be abundantly clear. When we say what wasn't a good week for anybody, I mean as far as the consumer base. Xbox is getting an ARM device. they getting a Swiss watch. So is Nintendo and PlayStation. And we'll talk, and then I'll just say this: when it comes to PlayStation, I'm of a different mindset as the live service games. I'm not mad at anybody that feels otherwise. I've heard Porter Rock, I've heard a lot of people out there say, no, just drop it. I don't feel that way, and there's a business sense to that, and I'll get into that when we get to that section. But the fact of the matter is every time they take a lump, that's a chunk out of our asses. Why? Because they borrowed money to do this, and that money has to be paid back. I repeat, they borrowed money to do this live service push, and that money has to be paid back. And I think you're already seeing the remnants of that payback by them talking about, yeah, we're getting the expenditures under control when it comes to making these games. You know what that means. So we'll get into all that, but I just want to make sure this is the no cap zone. This was an awful week as far as gaming platforms are concerned across the board. Whatever hopes that you had in Sony having high numbers, it was all dampened by the fact that they got motherfuckers out here stealing from the thrift store, stealing game assets from the thrift store. They pay what, $6 billion to have a company steal assets from the thrift, to steal some t-shirts out of the thrift store. They can't launch another, they cannot get past GT7 and fucking Helldivers 2 to save their life. And now Toki sounds like Phil Spencer. Getting to that. All right, but we'll start off with Xbox, man. Let's see here. Let's pull this old fly shit up. Oh, and another thing, I did for now. We're gonna change it up a little bit, y'all. For now, I did mute the member service thing where you can hit exclamation point speak. I did mute it for now. But when we get towards the end of the show, or we'll have certain sections of the show, we'll unmute it. And you guys, if you're a member, that's another reason why you'll want to become a member. If you're a member, here, I'll show you. I'll just unmute it for a brief second. Speak. All right, here we go.
Oh yeah, Warzone Mobile just got shut down.
Oh, you just got yanked. Yeah, I saw that. Hold on, I got to do it again because.
Where's Post Up? He needs to explain to us why that happened.
Yeah, exactly. We got Jonathan in the house with the $5 super chat. He said, Cold Blood. He said they calling you 7-Eleven Cold Blood. Didn't know if you saw that.
Bro, I don't give a shit what they're talking about in there. I said, come in voice chat, then we talk.
Now, what's 7-Eleven supposed to mean?
I have no fucking idea. You
Let me
are the
see.
Americans. You need
Well, I
to
know
know what that
7-Eleven
means.
is the store. Is
Yeah,
like
well,
the.
I know that. I know that,
Mhm.
but what does that mean? I have no idea.
Let's see here. Where is okay? I gotta. Oh, excuse me. Open up voice meter so you guys could. I think it's. All right, let me put this back in the chat. We got Juicy joined for 13 months. That's what's up. That's what's up. He said you have to look at the Discord. Yeah, I've been at work. I'm back on site and I'm distraught. So, oh, excuse me. So I only had like maybe a good 15 minutes to hurry up and scour my phone today and respond to some tweets.
Me.
Here it
Says
goes.
Todoki and Spencer are dog shit.
Here we go. So that's how you use it, but I'm gonna mute it for now. That's the control panel. So we're pausing it right now. It'll be back. Let's hold on real quick. Let's go through some of these just real quick. Some of the member contents that are out here. And remember, if you're a member, well, shout out to everybody in the chat, but we give the we get to the member stuff first. So if you want your comments pulled out first and you want to be able to use the talk to speech feature that will open up later in the show, make sure you're a member. It says it's okay. I've learned long not to jump the gun over bash Sony. They always come out being on top at the end of the gen. Andrew, and I get that, but it hits different now. Being better than who? Who are you better than? You have no competition now. Like, so you're always going to be better now. Like, it hits differently now. He would give it a 7 out of 11. Okay. So now they fucking with you, but it was a great week for Sony. 31, but I read that. Life is looking spooky. These EV vehicles. Oh, Jesus Christ. He says, High on Life did say they said this in pre-2017. No, what they said is they were going to focus more on MAUs. That's when they got Kadora in there. And I particularly remember that, High on Life, because and actually they doubled down on it more in 2019 when they hired Kadora, because in 2018 that's when they totally decimated Xbox in sales, but they didn't decimate them in money made. So that's when, Andrew House was going, Kadora came in. That's when you started seeing Jim Ryan start to rise up in ranks and stuff like that. So they've always made a push towards the financial stuff. And there's a reason for that. I'm gonna get to that. There's a legitimate reason on Sony's behalf why they gotta care about MAUs. We've actually talked about this last year when everybody was up in arms about Helldivers 2 and what they were doing on Steam. We already broke that down. There is an understandable business sense on why they are focused on MAUs. That's not the problem. The problem is that now they're saying we are swapping our focus on console units with MAUs, and when you look further into what they said, they are attaching that to purchases made via PlayStation Plus after you get on PlayStation. They're sounding like Game Pass. They're sounding like all they got to do left is to do the day and date shit. They're talking like Phil Spencer, and I get to where they do it some of the time, because Microsoft is so slick and they got so much influence on the market. You kind of got to play that game with them a little bit. And I'll break that down a little bit more later. But that whole thing about the shuffling of superseding the console sales with the way they're talking about MAUs now, that's the troubling part. Oh, was that? Okay, that was 2017. No, they've been at Kadira. I thought they made Kadira. I thought they promoted Kadira over like the internet part in 2019. I could have my years mixed up. That could have been no. They hired Kadira in 2017, and I think Kadira got promoted to hold on. Sony Kadira promoted. I thought that was 2019. Announcement of management transition. New head of PlayStation division. Oh, come on. They're making me pay for that. No. Looks like you're right. Okay, it was 2017. You're right. Okay, so we're lined up. So when they brought in Kadira, High on Life, that's when they started talking about MAUs. I had my years mixed up. That's when they started talking MAUs. So I remember that. I reported on all that, made videos on all that shit. That's not the problem. What they're saying now, we can't be topical about this. They mentioned MAUs in 2017 and said they had heightened importance in 2017. They didn't say in 2017 what they're saying now. They're not saying what they're saying now is a lot more severe. We'll get into that. Jesus Christ, this Bungie thing keeps getting worse and fucking worse. Legendary Drop says, I hope Anti-Real takes Bungie to task. The entire game is essentially made through the lens of your work. Lawyers will line up. Holy fucking cow, man. Anyway, all right, let's have a little bit of time with you PlayStation people, because I know what's gonna happen. As soon as we talk about PlayStation, y'all gonna start running. Y'all gonna start running like roaches and shit. Oh my god, no, stop it. Not Jim Ryan. All right, so let's do this. Hold on, Corey. This doesn't surprise me, you saying this, but we got to stop it. Because if someone left Xbox and this was news, you wouldn't be saying that. When Mike Ybarra left, when what's the name left, you weren't out there saying the internet is a funny place. I can't play Mike Ybarra leaving Xbox. You were probably out there like me and others laughing at Xbox because they left. This is the no cap zone, always, but definitely today. All right. Okay. Let's get into Xbox first. I do want to talk about this shit because for you stragglers out there that still that want to call up these shows and talk this crazy shit. Yeah. Don't what did I hear on the one podcast, Cold Blood? Yeah. Don't say that Xbox is out of it. It's the Trojan horse. And yeah, and they're a multi-trillion-dollar company. Yeah, it's not over yet. For those of y'all that are still sniffing that angel dust, huffing that paint, to think that there's some type of competition, stop it. One of the positive things that we can talk about with PlayStation are their numbers. Again, we can't plug in their numbers and play their numbers, but Sony broke records, at least for themselves, and they reached $30 billion in revenue. And their margins grew. More importantly, their margins grew. How was Sony able to do that? So y'all talk all this shit about Xbox doing so great. Guess who's doing greater off of Xbox's effort? PlayStation. Why? Because it's high margin business. PlayStation doesn't have to lift a finger. All they do is stick their hand out, get their 30%. So Microsoft gets to 70%, but out of that 70%, they gotta extract the cost to make the game and the cost of marketing. PlayStation just has his hand out. So because of all that activity that Xbox did and creating all that high margin business for PlayStation, where all they do is stick their hand out, there's no cut taken out for marketing or any of that shit. Guess what happened? That helped raise PlayStation to $30 billion, and it raised their margins. So for all of you that are talking about some Trojan horse, the oxygen is cutting off in the horse. When are y'all gonna come the fuck out before y'all die and suffocate in that motherfucker? Because It's over, Chief. It's just over. Y'all need to get over it. Now, something else that's interesting that really underscores cold blood why it's over is this right here. Shout out to my homie Brad Sams. If y'all don't know who Brad Sams is, let me tell y'all about my homie Brad Sams. Brad Sams is the same guy that y'all came out here and y'all tried to ridicule and y'all tried to run him off the block when he said that, hey, the Series S might be a bottleneck. The Series S might be a bottleneck for Xbox's next console. I'm hearing from developers that they are going to do and y'all went out and attacked Brad Sams viciously. Like he was Diddy's co-defendant. Y'all treated Brad Sams like he was Diddy's co-defendant. Take that. Made him private or unlist the video that he had of documented reports that he got from actual developers. And for only several years later, instead of you heeding the warning, you're now slapped with it in your face and everything that he said to be true. Well, Brad Sams is back. And guess what? Y'all are doing the shit all over again. What did Brad Sams come out and say? He got a video out there. It says confirmed. Next gen Xbox runs on ARM, ARM. And he's basing it off of this job listing. Let's see here. Yeah, this job listing that's out there from Qualcomm. He's basing it off of that. Now, let me tell, before we hear the bots come up in here and say, no, it's all PlayStation. Let's talk about Days Gone Remastered Marathon in Jade Raymond. No, before y'all start spazzing out and shit and start defecating your trousers, let me just tell you this. Brad Sams is part of a think tank. What is a think tank? A think tank is a group of experts on a particular business sector, or in this case, Microsoft. He's part of a Microsoft think tank that they don't do what you do. What do? You Phil Spencer and Aaron Greenberg jock sniffers. What do you do? You take a quote. You might take a snippet from Kotaku. Oh, see, look, this is proof. This is proof. Think tanks don't do that. Think tanks do research. They have connections internally and they talk to people. So if you're hearing something like confirmed from Brad Sams didn't do what you do. Brad Sams didn't do a post up. He didn't get his degree, his paralegal degree off a box of honeygrams. He didn't do that. He likely picked up the phone and called somebody and quote unquote confirmed. And what he's using this job reference for is he's presenting evidence that he can show you, because when you have these certain connections, you honestly don't think that Microsoft is okay with this information leaking, right? That is, unless it's a controlled leak, but you don't think that they're okay with this information being out there already. No, they're not. So to not give up his source, he shows you what he can, which is this job posting. And if you took the time, jock sniffers, to listen to the video, he breaks down that what Xbox is looking to do is they're looking to entertain a format that will allow their games to be played anywhere. They've already partnered with Amazon on Fire TVs. They're already on PCs. They already do have a console, but they're already in the cloud. So their take is, if we're going to make any more devices, we want it to be the most simplified, or how can I say, the most versatile infrastructure that there could be. And that's why they're going to a more mobile infrastructure, or that's what this Qualcomm partnership is about. So as far as what Brad Sams has been able to confirm, it looks like that Microsoft's hardware, if they do make any hardware, is following this approach. If Microsoft is going to create hardware, this is the type of hardware they're going to create that has this type of versatility. I can imagine them creating something that works in the cloud, something that a dongle, something that's ultra versatile, ultra portable. Now, again, I don't know what technology they're using. I don't know if they got any type of NVIDIA GeForce Now AI upscaling that they're going to use in culmination with this. I have no idea. So I'm not going to sit there and say that you're going to get 720p at low settings at 30 frames per second. I'm not going to say that, because you can play NVIDIA GeForce Now on a dongle and some shit and other shit like that, and you can get some great results. We haven't seen anything like that from Microsoft right now, but basically, instead of me, the tech novice, trying to explain this, before I pass this over to Cold Blood, my suggestion is go check out Brad Sam's video to get a better understanding of what the approach likely is, what it is that he confirmed, and what the approach is likely is, and how that's totally different from what they used to do, and why finally it appears, unless something drastic changes, Microsoft this is their step of bowing out of the console battle. All right. Before we go any further than that, I want to get my brother's take on this history, because he's more technically inclined when it comes to this type of stuff. Cold Blood, what are your thoughts on Brad Sam's report that the next Xbox is likely moving to an ARM for its next piece of hardware?
My question would be, who's this for?
It's for Andrew Wilkins. No, I'm just fucking with you. Fucking with Andrew. Go ahead. Go ahead, brother.
So Andrew is in the market for a console-like mobile device?
I guess so.
But not really?
Yeah, not really.
Because it's literally just a fucking phone? Like, bruh, that a Snapdragon chip is the shit that is in your Samsung phones and other Android phones.
Jesus. Yeah.
Can you imagine that motherfucker run GTA 6?
Oh my God.
Natively? I don't.
Yeah. That's the perplexing part. That's the
Bro,
Go ahead.
No, are they really just gonna say, yeah, we upgraded the cloud and now you get a fucking mobile device with it?
Yeah. I think
is this gonna be the fucking end game?
Yeah. Yep.
Bruh. If nobody wants your cloud shit now, why do you think with a fucking device that is probably gonna be around $700?
Oh my God.
It's gonna change.
Yeah.
Like,
because they're not taking a loss on this at all. No,
bro. That's why I said today you gotta explain the stupidity to me, because I cannot explain that at all.
They are cutting up in his fucking chat. We're about to just shut up and let y'all and just let the chat scroll and play the music. Hold on. I'm sorry. I gotta read Andrew Wilkins' comment. He said, Sarah ain't ugly though. She isn't hot. She has a serious long jawline. Microsoft hired her because she's black and she can be a scapegoat. Microsoft don't like black people. This is not documented. I'm done. Hey, yo, I'm done.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, boss. We talked about it, but what do you think Sarah Bond actually meant by the biggest leap in technology?
Oh, I can outdo Phil Spencer in passing you a crock of shit. Or now where's Cree at? Cree 86. Cree, I know I've forsaken thee, Cree, but Cree knows this. because he worked at T-Mobile and he's familiar with Sarah Bond because that's where she came from. In the mind of, you gotta understand, Sarah Bond ain't no hardcore AAA gamer like us or like the legacy Xbox people that are now out here like crap gamer talking about day 86 while I'm asking Phil to jump into a volcano.
Yeah, I understand that, Moss, but if you announce shit like that someone had to tell her that, right? To say.
Well, yeah, definitely. But I think Cold Blood, knowing her background, she's probably never come across a console made off of cell phone parts. And maybe that's amazing to her. Maybe that's just simply amazing to her, and that's why she framed it that way. Because remember, nobody else said that. And remember, weren't they supposed to come out and introduce this December of last year? Where's it at? We have more to show you at the end of the year, they told us.
No, actually, where is the mobile store?
Yeah, that too.
That they were talking about.
That too. That too.
Are they saying they have their mobile store by making people buy their games or their Xbox and PC on a mobile? Because that would be fucking dumb.
I don't know, and I'm gonna be honest with you. At this point in time, I don't think they know. They got Jason Ronald leading the technical aspects of this, for crying out loud. He is the chief architect of the Xbox Series disaster. They look. It's like it's like we've been saying, bro. Phil Spencer and Matt Booty, they're fucking high-fiving each other. They got Hawaiian shirts on, drinking Kahlúas, going to Cancun. Sarah Bond, and according to Andrew Wilkins, is stroking her long jawline and pulling her hair out, going crazy because they don't know which way is up. And I think for Sarah Bond, I think the reason why she said that is because this probably is a technological leap when you think about it this way. Now, hear me out. I know this is going to sound stupid and it's going to make you want to kick somebody's bottom row teeth out, but I'm trying to put you in the mindset of Sarah Bond. It is a technological leap to go from a big, badass, strong console to squeeze all that power into a little itty bitty ARM chip. To them, that's a technological leap because you're trying to compact something so big and something so small. So technically, you could, because they do that in technology all the time. The only thing that Phil Spencer said is we're going to try to do this in a way that console gamers can respect.
Wait, console gamers respect you jumping off a cliff?
Bruh.
Is that it?
They look how long these motherfuckers, they're still talking about Trojan horses. Fuck the cliff. They're in the goddamn, they're at the Earth's core right now. They're still talking about Trojan horses. Phil came out and said, there's no red lines. Gears is coming to PlayStation. Sony made 30, it's cut all this bullshit about, yes, Trojan horse and Microsoft is making money. Sony's making more money off your games. 30 billion. Stop it. We had our greatest quarter ever since 2024. They're coming up with these dumb stats. PlayStation is sitting there, they're breaking 30 billion off your games. There is no Trojan horse. Just a Trojan wrapper left where you guys got bent over and stuck it too raw with no Vaseline. But yeah. Now TruckNet Trucknet is theorizing. Shout out to Trucknet in the chat. Trucknet is theorizing that this is for virtual reality. I'm trying to find your content, Truck. I mean your comment. What you say? Virtual reality. Virtual reality headset in a mobile device. So you think Trucknet? Let us know in the chat. Do you think they're still coming out with a console too? I'm just curious of what you're thinking.
Bro is a crazy fanboy.
Bro, yeah.
Like VR? Are you fucking kidding me?
Bro.
I mean, you could have said anything, but VR is the last thing, bro, that Xbox is concerned about.
Bro. Bro. They Trucknet, they were in AR. They did the Connect, they did AR. Satya is not into all that shit. He don't give a fuck about that shit. Satya is not a hardware person. He's going to entertain this whole ARM thing because it's not going to be super expensive for them. It's versatile and it helps with his aspirations of gaming everywhere. He really wants it to be cloud-based. So yeah, I just gave a lecture to the PlayStation people. I got to give it to you Xbox people. You guys got to y'all got to get out. Damn it. Y'all got to get out of La La Land. He says, yes, a console, a mixed reality headset, and a handheld. You think, hold on, Xbox is going to drop all three? Xbox is. Okay.
And which studio is gonna make those games for these fucking features?
Bruh. Xbox is gonna do a VR headset? What is the impetus of them doing this? Why would they do this? They just sat and watched Sony not go too far with their VR headset. And they actually had the AR headset. They're not doing. Microsoft is trying to do this on the cheap. This is why they shot up. So anything where they're not coming out of pocket for anything. So anything where they got to make major investments, it's going to be sky high. They can't get around the console yet. They're not going to cut it off because that would be poor reputational risk. So instead of just getting rid of the console, altogether, they're just raising the price to levels to where ain't nobody going to buy it, but at least it's still out on the market. So, it doesn't harm them because that just means that there's a lot that they don't have to produce and store in warehouses. They don't give a fuck. When next gen hits, this is going to be the most cost efficient that they've ever been. They're not eating anything on hardware. They're not jumping into the VR and all. Like they're exploring the handheld market. I'm pretty sure, or they might just combine the handheld. They might do a switch. Who knows? I don't think they know, because it was just last year, Trucknet, that they told us that they would talk to us about these plans in December. December has gone and passed. Where's the conversation?
I know what was the conversation in December.
What was that?
Indiana Jones coming to PlayStation.
One more thing. And I'm deferring the conversation to Jeff Keighley. Hit it, Jeff. Yeah, one more thing.
And wait, I think in December was also the rumor about Forza coming to PlayStation.
Yeah, because remember Mag came here and told us.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what Mag came and told us and shit. Shout out to Mag. Yep. Yeah, I told you guys I was going to sit here and talk to you in December I'm going to be sitting here stroking my jawline with my baby Andrew Wilkins. I don't have time. I am deferring this to Jeff Keighley. Hit it, Jeff. Well, one more thing. Hey, yo, I ain't never seen him smile. Like, he looked like the It the Clown and shit, the way he was smiling when he did that. I ain't never seen Jeff Keighley smile so hard. It was like he had the footage to Death Stranding 3 out that bitch. Oh, man. Yeah, Sony did AR for game well before always copying Microsoft did. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I'm just saying, Microsoft is not jumping back into that. They're not a hardware company. And Satya had some appetite for that. With gaming, he's lost all that appetite. Why the fuck you think they're even switching to ARM or they're pursuing ARM this hard? Now, I don't know. TruckNet is telling us there's going to be a console thing. Brad Sams is saying that. What did Brad Sams say? Now, Brad Sams phrased it as in ARM will be powering a new Xbox generation. So he's making it seem like whatever Xbox creates hardware-wise, ARM is powering that. ARM is powering it. He didn't say, and trust me, I've been covering Brad Sams for 7 years. He didn't say ARM is joining part of the family, but he was very clear and concise. ARM will be powering a new Xbox generation. Now, I'm not saying Brad can't make a mistake, Cold Blood and TruckNet. I'm not saying that. Anything's possible, but Brad is batting 1,000. And every time you jock sniffers come after Brad Sams, when the dust settles, as it relates to Xbox, he's always right. So my money's on Brad Sams. He said why do y'all keep doing this? You know what? Fuck all the bullshit. Fuck the bullshit. Let's get to it. And TruckNet and whoever the fuck's in this chat, this is pointed to y'all. I gotta know. When Brad Sams came out and told y'all that the Series S was gonna be a problem for the Xbox, and y'all made this man unlist his video. Why do y'all do stuff like that? When information comes out that could be helpful to y'all, information that can help your decision making power or can help alert you to something that you can push back on. Why is it? And Brad Sams is clearly a diehard Xbox person, but he's not going to act like the truth doesn't exist. Why do y'all do this? Why do you argue against your better judgment or your betterment? Why do y'all do that? I just need to know. You're saying Brad Sams, who has connections in Xbox and Microsoft, he doesn't know what it is. Shout out to the homie Top Dog, who has joined the Top Dog Law. Shout out Top Dog. Good to see you again, my brother. You're saying Brad Sams don't know what it is. Okay, that's interesting. So now you're saying that the switch to so here's the reasoning in Cold Blood. TruckNet says, damn, you just waved the white flag. You said, Moss, I can't fight anymore. I give. TruckNet says, I didn't know that he said that, but what I do know is that Nintendo Switch 2 is less powerful and no devs are complaining. Why is that? Cold Blood, do you have any thoughts on that? I don't know if I can do that. You have any thoughts on that, Cold Blood? Or did Cold Blood step away?
No, I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Why? No. Why are you concentrating on the Switch all of a sudden? You have the biggest pile of dog shit as a console in the Series S. First of all, call out fucking Xbox for that
Yes.
goddamn console destroying your whole generation. Your games are all so fucking unambitious because of that motherfucker. Why they not calling out the Switch too? Well, I have no fucking idea. Maybe because it has more RAM than the fucking Series S? Maybe that's why? I have no idea.
Oh, God.
Or maybe there is an actual player base for that fucking system.
Exactly. That's why they're not complaining. There's a player base for the Switch too. What is Xbox's player base?
Probably barely 30 million now.
Yeah. Xbox has no player base. You can't even comparing Xbox to Switch 2. That can't even happen. I don't even have a comparison for that because there should be no comparisons made between Xbox and Nintendo. And a bigger point, as far as I'm concerned, is let's just say if Xbox and Nintendo were comparable, that just leads to our point. I don't want parallel development for the trash ass Switch 2. I don't want that shit. I don't want fucking Battlefield, the next Battlefield, to be day and date on the Switch 2. Do you know how crappy that thing would fucking be? If then they started considering parallel development for the Switch 2? Like, come on. We don't want that. That's the point exactly. Well, I wouldn't want that as an Xbox person. So, I mean, I don't know, man. Just if you're enjoying Xbox Game Pass, here's what I'll say. Xbox is worth, if you're a Game Pass gamer, like literally, if like that's all you do, is you just flip through the Rolodex of Game Pass games. Okay. Xbox's strategy makes perfect sense for you. But most of you are not Game Pass gamers. Like, most of you are traditional gamers. It's just that, unfortunately, most of you, when I say most of you, I'm talking about most of you that are here on these podcasts, listening, talking shit on Twitter. You represent a niche group of Xbox gamers because some of y'all will actually buy games. But Xbox has created this tendency for the rest of the people that do not come here, that do not listen, or that are just like posing, that all y'all do is they get on Game Pass. I want to know how these new waves of Xbox, how they're benefiting you. That's the question. I'm not saying they won't benefit anybody. I want to know, I'm talking to a specific demographic of gamer. I'm not talking to the average Joe Schmo that watches IGN for their gaming news and all that other shit and that are Game Pass. I'm listening and talking to you, the gamer, who is a AAA genre defining gamer. How is this working for you? How? How is Xbox going to ARM working for you? How is Xbox focusing on the cloud working for you? How is Xbox abandoning the console working for you? How is Xbox, if you do want a premier experience, how is Xbox relegating you and forcing you to go and be a PC refugee? How is that working for you? How? Don't just defend the action. Explain how, and don't tell me about nobody else's fucking money. Don't say, well, Microsoft is making so and so. How is that working for you? How does that help you out? How does this ARM thing, how does any of this help you in your growth as a gamer? How? Trucknet says I'll get an amazing handheld. But Trucknet, Brad Sam said that ARM is powering the next Xbox. You can't compare PlayStation handheld to, because that, I can't think of the word, but that setup isn't powering the next PlayStation 6. The next PlayStation infrastructure is going to be a lot more powerful than some freaking ARM. According to Brad Sams, ARM is powering the next Xbox. Meaning that that Xbox, think of it as a graph, a circular graph, where an ARM chip is in the middle and everything around it circularly are the devices that Xbox creates. So don't get me wrong, you can play Xbox games on PC if you want to, play them on the cloud. These are not Xbox devices. You can play them on the PlayStation. I'm talking about you as a consumer that wants Xbox hardware. I get that you get a handheld. Are you saying now that you are relegating yourself to being like a Switch owner where you'll get like a handheld infrastructure and then I guess a dock mode? A glorified HDMI? Is that what you're relegating yourself to? Because that's a lot less powerful and that's a lot less performance that you get from the traditional console. He said it's gonna Black Bleach said it's gonna cost an arm. No, Trucknet, no. Let's go back here. Let's go back. I have to show you something. We're gonna do this one more time, and then we'll move on. Because I don't want to be belligerent point. How do I get to the web? Oh, I am on the web. Right? Oh no, my thing isn't working. Okay, let me connect this again. Okay, let's connect this again. Let's look at this one more time, and then we're going to talk about it again, Truckmat. Because I'm doing you a huge favor. It may not sound like it. It may sound like I'm being facetious, but you got to follow me. Okay, here we go. You ready for it? Let's go. This guy, Brad Sams, is part of a think tank. Think tanks don't do what you and I do. We don't go and grab quick snippets off of a headline or caveat certain words in a paragraph like how people did with when Satya and Tim Stewart was letting you know that they were going full-fledged third party, and people was like, no, they're only talking about Activision. They don't. Brad Sams doesn't do that shit, and I think he's more thorough than that. And I think that's why he gets attacked by the Xbox consumer base. Brad Sams is part of a think tank. It's called the Paul Thurrott Think Tank. Matter of fact, here, let me show you. Let me show you. Paul Thurrott. Okay, here it goes. You never heard of Paul Thurrott? Let me put him up on the screen. He's part of the Paul Thurrott think tank. Paul Thurrott is the Thurrott think tank is a group. Here, let's see, about Thurrott.com. Paul Thurrott is an award-winning technology journalist, blogger with 30 years of industry experiences and the author of 30 books. He is the owner of Thurrott.com and the host of the 3 Tech Podcasts, Windows Weekly with Leo Laporte and Richard Cabell. That is on the Twit Network, the #1 network for technology news. Hands on Windows and First Ring Daily with Brad Sams. And on First Ring Daily, they talk all Xbox and Microsoft. He was formerly the senior technology analyst at Windows IT Pro and the creator of SuperSite for Windows from 1999 to 2014 and the major domo of Thurrott.com while at BWW Media Group from 2015 to 2023. You can reach Paul via email, Twitter, or Mastodon. Paul works with a bunch of industry people. He used to be at Windows for one, but he works with a bunch of industry people that know way more about this tech shit than you and I could ever understand. And he surveys the entire industry and he talks about it. And because of his work at Microsoft, he has deep connections with people still there. So does Brad. So all of these knowledgeable, resourced people, they get together and they create what? A think tank, meaning that they go and do the serious legwork, find shit that's going on behind the scenes at these companies that they value, and they come back to the average consumer or listener and they bring back to you this unfiltered, exact information. That's what think tanks do. If think tanks brought you false or fake information, they would not be a think tank. Brad Sams is part of the Paul Thurrott think tank. On these matters, all the way back to the Series S, because I was following Brad for several years, he's been 1,000% right when he's peeled back the veil and said, look, this is what's going on behind the scenes and this is what they're looking to do. Now, just because he tells you, this is what I will give you, TruckNet. I will give you this. The only smidgen of hope that you have in regards to this is that just because he tells you what they're planning to do, that doesn't always translate into what the end result is. Sometimes plans change, but I'll give you an example. The Paul Thurrott think tank is on top of that. Brad Sams was the first one to tell you about Lockhart, which was the Series S. Then when they changed their plans for Lockhart and scrapped it after they saw Stadia, guess who came out and told you about that? Brad Sams. Then when they brought it back, guess who was the first to tell you about it? Brad Sams. I listen and follow the shit that make a lot of you guys' eyes gloss over and give you little naps. But that's because I'm out seeking facts. I'm not out here to Twitter battle or to win an argument, because winning an argument doesn't mean that you're telling facts. It's just that you presented your argument in a certain way that, based upon whoever your audience is, it won them over. I'm out for the facts. Brad Sams does not come out and say confirmed unless he picked up the phone and talked to the contacts that he and Paul Thurrott have to confirm something. Now, again, your only saving grace, like how I broke down with the Series S and Lockhart, is that plans can change. But what he is telling you right now, that as far as how the plans are established, what's powering the next family of Microsoft-made Xbox devices is ARM. And unless you can show me what think tank you're associated with, I refuse to believe that you have a better understanding than Brad Sams of all people when it comes to anything technical behind Xbox. I'm not saying that you're dumb or you're stupid. No, this man is connected. He has way more information than any of us could ever have. So when he uses certain words, that is stuff that he has validated and confirmed. As far as things go now, he has validated that ARM, as he says here, ARM will be powering a new Xbox generation. So as far as the plans are now, this is what's powering Xbox. Period. I hate to say case closed, but case closed. Whether you and I like it or not, it is what it is. We got Geek to Sneak in the house. Doriega says, no, and Trucknet, you may know who the guy is. I mean, you may be familiar with who he is, but I wanted to make sure that you knew who he was. That he just wasn't some guy that just happened to, have some connections. He's part of a think tank. Black Bleach says, I didn't pay $500 to have Lunchables promoted and first party titles pop up whole screen when I boot up the console. Bender of Strength says, I associate another appendage when it comes to Xbox. All right. So that's where we're at. That's why I said to you, I'm not saying this is etched in stone. Brad is not saying this is etched in stone. He's saying that as far as the project that's in flight right now, this is what they're pursuing. They're pursuing ARM. Okay. And my question simply is to anybody that's an Xbox gamer, don't give me Xbox's financials, because I could sit here, I mean, in the next section where Andrew Wilkins and everybody and Juice and everybody's going, well, Juice maybe won't leave, but where Andrew Wilkins and everybody will leave, I'm going to break down to you my thoughts about PlayStation. And I'm not going to sit there and say, well, I don't care about it because PlayStation did break a record and they got 30 billion. What does that do for me? That does nothing for me. I can't hook that $30 billion. I can't even sniff it, let alone hook it up and play it. All right. So that's where we're at with Xbox and ARM. Okay. Let's move on. Let's talk about it. PlayStation. Oh, God. Oh, God. Cold blood. I don't know about you. No. We talked about this. I mean, would you agree? I actually think this week was worse for PlayStation than it was Xbox. What do you think?
Yes, I would agree.
Yeah, it was worse for PlayStation. Let's start with Jade Raymond. Your new avatar. Yeah, Jade Raymond has left the company that she started. That company is, what's the fuck? I always, what was the name of that fucking company? Haven. They got the funniest memes out here. Go to Shinobi. Let's take Shinobi's tweet. Let's put it up here. So here it goes. It says Jade Raymond has left PlayStation's Haven Studios. Jade Raymond founder. Are they gonna make me pay for this shit? Oh. Jade Raymond, founder and head of Sony's Group Corp, game developer Haven Studios has left the company. PlayStation leadership didn't give Haven staff a reason for her departure, but it came several weeks after an external test of Haven's first game, the online shooter Fairgames. According to people with knowledge of the matter, some developers at Haven were concerned about how the game was received and its progress, said to people who asked not to be identified because they aren't authorized to speak publicly. That sounds awfully familiar. Cold Blood, when she left Stadia, like when Stadia closed down its studios, they still kept people on for several months and was trying to help them transition either into Google or help them find something else. Jade Raymond just rolled. So I wouldn't be surprised if Haven Studios gets shut down too. They're just keeping them around for a little bit and they're looking to do the same thing. But a lot of these Haven Studios people were the same people that were let go at Stadia and shit. They end up joining Jade Raymond. Cold Blood, what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on Jade Raymond, her tenure, her inability to make a game, in 20 years or some shit like, or 10 years? She hasn't been able to make a game. 20 years. Oh, fuck. Okay. What are your thoughts on Jade Raymond and her 20-year tenure since making anything?
We talked about it too, right? Like, she is, in my opinion, the biggest con artist in the industry right now. She was employed for 20 years to not produce a single fucking thing in those 20 years. She got rejected by the rejects in Stadia. And Sony came to the great idea, and let's employ her. She did not do a single fucking thing forever, but hey, maybe with the guidance of Herman Holtz, she's gonna probably finally bring out the fucking masterpiece we all wanted. But nah, see what happens when you bring people on that have a track record that is criminal at best. When you look at the gaming industry, bro, she siphoned out money up the ass. I guarantee you. And then she said, whatever, fuck it, I'll leave. I got my money. Y'all deal with that shit now. Amazing. Sony, congratulations. Another fucking studio that will go the fucking dodo bird, just like your shit. Firewalker. Bro. That's crazy.
I don't disagree with your take. I'm gonna be a little bit more diplomatic about it. I wouldn't say it's a con. I would say I get what you guys are saying, because I've been hearing that a lot. She's been calling the fuck. She's been finessing the whole fucking industry. It's piss poor management when it comes to her. I get why Stadia did it. They were desperate. We just had Alex Hutchinson. Go to clouddosage.com. Shout out to Cloud Dosage. They just wrote, we just have an article on the site where Alex Hutchinson, the guy, I guess they're called Woodchuck Studios or whatever. I don't know what the fuck they're called now, but they're the makers of Revenge of the Savage Planet. We got an article over there where he comes clean about his experience with Stadia. And he said shit like they were like the people at Google, more than anything, were like, what are we doing here? Why are we making games? Like Google, like the people at Google, not necessarily Stadia, the Google people just were fucking clueless. So I get why Google picked her up. They had no clue what they were doing. I was surprised that PlayStation picked her up, but I know why they did it, and I don't agree. They did it because Jim Ryan had an out-of-body experience in the form of ABK being announced. Like, if there's anything to taint Jim Ryan's career, it's not the We Believe in Generations. It's not some of that dumb shit that he did with that. It's how he reacted to ABK. The fact that he thought that Microsoft, he misjudged and misread Phil Spencer. I think what happened was Satya gave the indication to, who was it? Kinzara. Who did Satya meet with and shake hands with when they were talking about they were doing an exploratory committee? Who was that cold blood? It wasn't Kazara. It was somebody else. Say again.
When was that?
Jesus fucking Christ. I was like 2019, I think it was. I think
it was Kazurai.
Kazurai, okay, it probably was
at that time.
What happened was, I think Satya honestly wanted to. He didn't want to compete with PlayStation. I don't think he wanted to again leave PlayStation. I think I think that what they did is they talked to PlayStation. They tried to smooth them over. We're not going to compete with you guys anymore. Look, man, you're kicking the living snot out of us. You beat the shit out of us, man. You got us holding our ass, no Vaseline. How can we do business? How can we suck the teat of the almighty PlayStation goddess? That's what Satya was trying to do. But here goes it. And I feel like that Satya's market brown nosing of PlayStation, I think that's what reverberated through all of the industry, or not all of the industry, but all of PlayStation and all of Sony. And I think Jim Ryan fell victim to it. Jim Ryan thought, oh yeah, these guys ain't trying to compete. They're doing this because they want to go third party. I don't think it's worth the money that they paid, but don't worry about this, guys. Don't worry about it. But Phil always had ulterior motives. Phil just thought, I'm going to go along for now. I'm going to go along. He always thought that if he just went along with what Satya did or wanted, that eventually he could convince Satya to do his bidding. And it almost worked. It almost worked. He got Satya. I don't know how he coerced that motherfucker, but he got Satya to try that exclusive shit, to sign off on it. He got Satya to do it. And man, oh man, does Satya wish he never entertained that goofy motherfucker, because it translated into how the ABK deal got all fucked up for Microsoft. Because if it wasn't for how they handled Bethesda, the aforementioned Google Stadia don't even have a leg to stand on to snitch to the regulators, and ABK gets passed through without a delay, and they don't have to give up everything that they had to give up, cloud rights and 10-year deals. They don't have to do that shit, because you remember the regulators told Shoe Jim, don't bother us. There is no harm to PlayStation. If Call of Duty comes to Xbox, there's no harm. Get the fuck out of here. What held everything up was cloud. That was from Google snitching on them. How do we know it was Google? Because Google is the one that showed up at the fucking FCC trial. So that's what happened. Jim Ryan panicked, thought that he was going to lose all these Activision Blizzard games, which riddled his top 25. Well, not necessarily riddle, but you had Overwatch, Call of Duty, and he felt like he needed to replace them ASAP. And then they already were in a push. They had already borrowed money for games as a service anyway. So I was like, damn, we're really fucked. because we were already behind the curve, but with Activision Blizzard still in our pocket, we had nothing to worry about. Now we're behind the curve and we got to, and we're going to lose Activision Blizzard games. Fuck. And he panicked. And that's how they got Firewalk Studios. And that's how they got Haven Studios. Because Jim Ryan panicked. And man, oh man, did that panic in the long term fuck PlayStation's reputation. Particularly as it comes to this live service and just basically with the fan base, like, all right, what the fuck? You don't have nothing to show us? Now, I know better because I've talked to developers and they're like, they told me years ago, like I would get developers. I think enough time has elapsed. Y'all probably don't even know who the fuck I talked to. For the aforementioned Stadia, here, let me put this up here because I do want to read this article because I find some eerily similar things going on here as it relates to Jade Raymond's departure from Stadia and Jade Raymond's departure from PlayStation. So I would do interviews with people about Stadia, right? I would get developers, and I've done several of them. Small developers, big developers, porting houses, people that are responsible for porting games, big games, small games, you name it. And as soon as the interview was over, a common thing was like when we went off air, oh man, okay. Because they're thinking, because these are developers that are in the know, right? So they're sitting there thinking that I'm in the industry too. They just met me through Stadia and I reached out to them, showed them some shit, some content. Probably these people went back to Google Stadia. Google Stadia probably said, yeah, talk to that guy. It's okay, right? And they're like, oh, okay, well, if Google Stadia vouched for this guy's probably, I just never heard of him. That's probably what they're thinking. So they go talk to me. So these guys are sitting here at the end of our podcast after we've gone off air and shit, and we're giving our salutations. Hey, did you hear what PlayStation got going on? Huh? No, what? Oh man, PlayStation just flew us out and showed us blah 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 blah. What? Yeah, man, they had a whole bunch of us out there, blah 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 blah, and we were out there at blah 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 blah, and they called us to come down there, man. Blah 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 blah. I even had one reporter for a gaming almost said too much, for a gaming site. He works for a gaming site who I was supposed to get him on a show and we were going to talk about Stadia, but Stadia ended up closing down. So we just know. But he writes for a big publication, right? He hit me up. This had nothing to do with any of the other people that I talked. He hit me up when PlayStation did that one, did the one showcase right after Phil Spencer went on Kind of Funny and was like, yeah, I'm probably going to lose my job over this. This is right after Redfall. Remember, PlayStation announced the showcase, and we thought that was the showcase that PlayStation was just going to kick Microsoft's teeth in. We just thought, oh, they're going to rub salt in the wound. They're going to curb stomp these motherfuckers while they're down. I'm here for it. He called me out of nowhere. Mind you, Stadia's dead. We're talking every blue moon just about random shit, but it's like every 4 or 5 months we're hitting each other up. Bro hits me up out of nowhere. He's like, you are about to be amazed. And I'm like, what? He's like, you are fucking about to be amazed. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, if PlayStation, if what we are suspecting is going to happen, that PlayStation, now that they smell blood from Xbox and Redfall, if what we think is going to happen is about to happen, PlayStation is about to fucking melt your skin off your face. Are you dead ass? Yeah, I'm dead ass serious. I'm like, cool. But I'm still like chilling. I had one developer that I had interviewed, told me a bunch of shit. And then around that same time, hit me up like, yeah, man, oh, this is gonna be great. I had this guy randomly hit me up. Then another guy. Yeah, I was flown out too. Sony, no. He wasn't flown out. This guy was making a game that he was putting on PlayStation. And I guess what PlayStation was doing was, I guess, trying to give people a welcome package of why they would want to develop games on PlayStation. So this guy also says, look, I can't believe what I was shown. You just wait. PlayStation's about to melt the face off you, the skin off your bones. Then the showcase dropped and it was a dud. And they all hit me back simultaneously and was like, bro, I'm sorry. I don't know what the fuck that was. What are they doing? Why are they holding on to this shit? None of this shit is what we see. I feel like, and this is why Cold Blood has been saying, you got to give Cold Blood his flowers. I know you guys don't like, he doesn't sugarcoat. He doesn't sit there and say, oh, here, baby. He doesn't put the sprinkles of sugar on the oatmeal for you. He just grabs you by the back of your throat and says, take this shit and eat it. We got to go. But he's been trying to tell you about Herman Holst, how much of a fuck up he is. And he was trying to tell you that even though these investments were separate for the live service stuff, they were going to have impact on the single player. Because here's what I think happened. I think that because they borrowed money and because PlayStation was in such a panic, I think a lot of that cool shit that I had people that keep hitting me up about, resources and focus, some of it got directed from it to help push the games as a service. Because you got to remember, in 2023 or 2022, most of their investments were in games as a service. It was the first time that games as a service investment toppled single player investment. So I'm thinking resources, marketing, hell, even development shifted from that shit that people kept calling me and telling me about to this new shit. We already know that Ben Studios was working on a fucking games as a service. Who was it? Blue Hole? Or who was that? That was working on a God of War MOBA. All because Jim Ryan panicked. Here's what I will say. And then I'm going to jump on Bungie real quick and then we're going to turn it over to the chat. Here's what I want to say. Look, guys, this is not doom and gloom. This is not take your PlayStation, sell them. I wouldn't dare tell you guys that. And look, I'm a newbie here. All right. I was capping for Xbox. So I get it. I got to earn my stripes out in these streets, right? I get all that shit. But as a business person, I try to fucking tell y'all that Hiroki Totoki was a fucking problem. And his conversations around MAUs, now me and my homie High on Life, we kind of like parsed that and dug deep into it. It wasn't the first time they mentioned MAUs, but it's the first time they talked about MAUs this way. They sound like Phil Spencer. I told you guys that Totoki was a problem. When I first started making content on this channel, mind you, I was writing for little small ass minuscule gaming websites, getting my chops wet, and I had no desire to do YouTube videos or do videos. I just wanted to write. That was my passion, was writing. But then I came across different podcasts, Gamertag Radio, and then Xbox Uncut, and then Z's podcast. And I was hearing this battle that was going on over Xbox and PlayStation. And in my mind at the time, I felt like that Xbox was getting a bad, shake. Like its problems were being overpurported. So my thing was, I'm probably going to have to get from behind the keyboard simply, and I am going to have to create content. Now, because of my job and stuff like that and the government affiliations with the shit that I do, I can't come on camera and do it 1,000% that way. But I said, I'll try something, and the rest is history. So you got to remember the reason why I even came here. Even in the midst of me coming here to simply debunk what I felt was unfair coverage of Xbox and show, quote unquote, PlayStation was overrated. My very first video, even though that was my purpose, my very first video, and I'll never forget the title of this video, is Phil Spencer got a promotion and I'm not celebrating. I smelled once I got my sea legs together and I understood who was who, because I'll be honest with you, even I was writing, my focus was on the games and my focus was on the community. I didn't know who any of these execs were. The only exec that I knew was Peter Moore, and then after all the bullshit with Don Matrick, and then Jack Trenton. Those are the only motherfuckers that I knew. I didn't know I didn't know who anybody else was. I mainly wrote about the games and the community. That's what I wrote about. So when I started following Phil Spencer and the shit that he was saying, I was like, something doesn't smell right. My 25 plus years of Fortune 500 experience started kicking in. When you start doing something for 25 years, every day, getting up, washing your ass, brushing your teeth, grooming yourself, pressing your clothes, when you do that routine for 25 years, certain things become instinctive. And when I would listen to Phil Spencer, listen to the shit he was saying, then look at the end result, something didn't seem right. That's why, despite my purpose, that was my first video. Phil Spencer got a promotion and I'm not celebrating. Go look it up. I bullshit you not. When Hiroki Totoki first took over as the interim chairman, whatever the fuck he was for PlayStation, I got the exact same feeling. And when I kept telling everybody, Hiroki Totoki's gonna be a problem, what? How? Now you see how. The reason why Sony in 2017 had to start focusing on MAUs was because Xbox happened to, I don't want to say get lucky, but they had a strategy that worked out for them in 2017 and 2018. They got the chicken shit stomped out of them by PlayStation in sales. It was only down 4 to 6 billion. They outperformed Xbox to where they should have been down 8 to 16 billion. I'll put it like this. Microsoft made 16 billion. I think Sony made 22 billion after 2018. So that's like a 6 billion difference. If Microsoft was able to make 16 billion, PlayStation should have made 32 billion a way that they. So PlayStation is looking at that gap and they're like, this is a lot less than what it should be. And Microsoft ran with it and they started manipulating the market into saying, look, they might sell more, but we have a better long-term strategy because we're invested in this MAU thing. So then that's where I got my wires crossed. High on Life. That's when Condor came out in 2019, and then he started doubling down on the MAUs. Yeah, they already talked about it in 2017, but that's when he doubled down in 2019, talking about the MAUs. And Microsoft since then has been able to manipulate the market and been able to project and say, oh, look at this, MAUs. Oh, look at this Game Pass. Look at this. They've been able, because Microsoft is a huge company. They have, they battle NVIDIA for the number one spot as far as the highest, I don't want to say grossing, but the highest rated company in the world. Them and NVIDIA go back and forth. So they have a lot of influence on the market. So what they've been able to do successfully is keep investors distracted by this whole MAU thing. Oh, MAU, yeah, MAU, because really, when it comes down to it, who is making more money? It's PlayStation. But what Microsoft is doing is it's influencing the market to make it think they may be making more money now, but we are going to surpass them because of MAUs. And analysts and investors are falling for that. Sony's like, fuck, we got to play this MAU game too. That's why they did what they did last year when it came to Helldivers and making people sign up, because they need to play that MAU game as well. It just backfired for them. And we told y'all this last year. I broke down to you why they were doing this, right? Fast forward to now, though, and now they're saying that MAUs outgrow dollar for dollar sales in units. And they say this is the case because of sales that generate after PlayStation. Stop it. It's all pie in the sky, fictitious bullshit, the same way that Xbox is doing it. Sony, I can understand by Sony having to make adjustments because of Microsoft's influence. But now they want to play the game exactly like them and talk about MAUs. Here's the problem. You can't talk that talk without walking the walk. Microsoft is talking that talk because their strategy is so handicapped. They got to extract something out of it that makes it look good. Sony already has a superior strategy, but now they want to go to MAUs because Hiroki Totoki is a financial guy and he's all about influence and making you think and investing in them in the long term. So he's simply looking at it like, well, if their business structure is getting investors to stick to them, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to build around MAUs as well. That's not good, because the biggest sign, the biggest detractor for this MAU approach is they also said what? That they have controlled, and I'm paraphrasing, the expenses on their AAA games. So all that technology, all that mocap, all that shit that makes their shit bling, don't expect that. If anything, you might expect more AI. Don't believe me? There was just a leak earlier this year or late last year about Horizon Zero Dawn and some AI shit that Sony was running that got leaked out. Some Aloy, some shit with Aloy that got leaked out. Oh yeah. If you're going to talk the talk, you got to walk the walk. Here's where I'm confident though. This isn't all doom and gloom. And this is my caution to you that are in this chat. I haven't looked at the chat, but I can just tell you guys are like, oh no way. No fucking way. Sony can do no wrong. Gulp, gulp, gulp. I caution you, Sony has no competition. They are fighting to get their margins up. If Sony doesn't give you what you want, where are you going to go? You going to build a $3,000 PC? Where are you going? This is how Sony's looking at it. Where are you going? You as the PlayStation gamer, like my brother Porter Rock, and like my brother Coldblood have been, and others have been, do not write Sony a blank check. This is not about doom or gloom. There's no doom or gloom. Sony has no competition. The battle is over. It's over. There is a distinct market for AAA, genre-defining console gaming. People ain't going to sit there and flock to ARM chips. They're not going to... Nintendo can't gobble up the PlayStation demographic. They have this spot all to their own. So there's no need to defend something that's defenseless. If anything, you have to be more on the alert. Do not defend this. These are bad practices, and the focus on MAU is concerning. And I get, I'm different from a lot of other people where they're like, I don't want them doing games as a service. They kind of have to. If you look at it from a business perspective, they have to, but not like this. They're doing it horribly. Why do they have to? Because who's to say that some other company is not going to come in and swoop up their other games as a service titles, buy them up, and restrict them from Sony? Now, somebody might say that's a dumb idea. It is dumb, but there's a lot of motherfuckers that got more money than they deserve, and if they put their money together and say, well, we're going to make a console to compete with Sony, and they start buying IP and start pulling it off the platform, Sony's in the same situation they were a couple years ago, where just off of ABK being announced, they lost $20 billion in stock evaluation just by the announcement of the deal. It took them a year to get that evaluation back when it came to their stock. PlayStation is vital to Sony. So to shore it up, they need more of games. They need more games as a service, top charting games as a service to be in their portfolio. I get it. They're just doing a horrible job at it. And they need to be better. And I'm going to tell you what the solution is. The solution's right in front of them. They can turn lemons into lemonade. I don't think anybody that isn't brown nosing or getting or has daydreams about getting teabagged by Sony, I don't think anybody will deny that after what we just found out last couple of days about Bungie, that they don't believe that Bungie is a dog shit company. Shout out to the $2 super chat. Hold on, how come I can't see it? He says, stop the cap. Shout out to Geek to Sneak with the $2 super chat. I don't think anybody can deny that Bungie is a dog shit company now. I'm not saying they're talented. They're very talented, but they're a dog shit company. It's time for Bungie to go the way of Old Yeller. Marathon is a fucking mess. That's going to be Concord Part 2. Dismantle Bungie. Totally create the Center for Live Service Excellence like you've already started. Convert everybody there to Bungie, and then what you do is all of these games as a service experiences, you have consultants and developers from Bungie partner, like how you did with Helldivers. Stop buying these fucking studios that haven't proven a thing. Have Bungie, or now the Center for Live Service Excellence, partner with outside talent to make these games as a service games. That's what you do. Do not fuck with Naughty Dog. Do not fuck with Ben Studios. Do not fuck with this one and that one, these single player developers, to make them make a service game. Do not fuck with Insomniac. They can consult, like if you're going off an IP, like say if they wanted to make a Spider-Man games as a service game, Insomniac should only be consulting over that And Bungie and fucking whoever they feel external company that can work on that should be working on that project. Yeah, I think it's time for Bungie to be dismantled. I mean, yeah, you have a small team or whatever team is appropriate to you know, deal with in-state Destiny 2. But you put everybody else in the center of live service excellence, and their job is to partner with external teams, like how you guys had people partner with how you partner with Arrowhead, and y'all make games as a service titles. I want to say this real quick. I just want to read this to you guys before we get out of here. This is Game Rant. This is when Jade Raymond left left Google. It says, per a recent news announcement, the company will shut down internal productions for stated titles slated for a 2021 window, closing the studios associated with all of them. All this is part of the effort to make big changes with Google, but it does mean Google is losing Jade Raymond, a key figure in Stadia's efforts. Google is offering Stadia tech to game publishers directly, and Stadia Pro gaming platform will still be offered to the public. However, this means that both of Google's name game studios in Montreal and Los Angeles will have to shut down, affecting 150 total. One of the people being the seasoned gamer producer, Jade Raymond, the head of the creation of Stadia. And they give a little bit of her background. According to a source within the company, Google said that it will try to help all of these developers find other jobs related to Google. However, it wasn't officially made public by any Google board members that if it was true or not. And if there is any indication, Jade Raymond herself has officially decided to take leave from the company instead of staying in order to pursue other future career possibilities. Sound familiar? Something went wrong with the company or with the studio. Jade Raymond just bounces. She just rolls while the other people are still there. Now, it sounds like she was replaced at Haven Studios. So it sounds like that Fairgames, and the name was changed, I saw somewhere, where they took the $ out and just made it Fairgames. I don't know if the changes to the game that Sony required Jade didn't like and she rolled. I don't know what it was. And I won't go as far, I'm not saying that Cold Blood is wrong. I won't go as far as say that she was finessing people, but it sounds like to me that Jade Raymond is very temperamental, and she doesn't deservingly need to be temperamental because she's producing low results. Like there has been no game in 20 years. And I remember when she was at Stadia and she was talking about, oh yeah, it's going to take us 7 years to make our Breath of the Wild. Now that to me is insane. Why is that insane? Because you are introducing all this AI machine learning. Aaron Hoffman John, who was part of their tech team that was working on a style of game development that allowed a small team to make a game as big as WoW. You have all this technology brewing there, and you can't promise us nothing outside of 7 years. It sounds like that Jade Raymond's contribution to gaming walled off at Assassin's Creed. She hasn't been able to produce nothing since. And now, if Sony ushered her out the door, okay, so there had to be some reason you were ushered out the door. But if you just left, well, I don't know. All right, let's get to these comments in the chat. Black Beach says, I wonder if Bungie are going to stick with Marathon and their we're going to get to that. I don't know how that happens. He says, Channel Division Heartlands had so much potential. I played that. Yeah, I did too. Yeah, that was a bad move to get rid of that. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, y'all know me. I'm a Division. Like if there was no other game, the last generation and a half that I played more than Division 2. No other game. I got like if you combine PlayStation, PC, Xbox, I got thousands of hours in that game. Right? And Stadia. I'm sorry. If you combine Stadia, the fuck I'm talking about. Stadia, Xbox, PlayStation, because I started a little small group on PlayStation. That only lasted a month, but still. I got thousands of hours in that game. Now, yeah, Division 2, I just don't, me personally, they haven't presented a new mechanic yet that makes me say, ooh, this is different. Like when they did the new, like the global events, I liked the global events, but the lure to the global events was the loot. I don't know if I feel like going after that loot as much as I used to. He said, don't bypass me. Hold on, what did I bypass? He says her last game noted was Star Wars Battlefront 2. Oh, she worked on that? Okay. 2017. Okay.
Oh, it's like saying she did not produce anything. Still.
Mm-hmm.
Same fucking thing. Battlefront 2 could not exist and nobody would care.
Mm-hmm. I don't think Marathon will stand the test of time. No, it won't. Yeah, that's what she did. That's what I'm like. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like the last. Okay, so they said she did Battlefront 2. So Assassin's Creed wasn't her last game. Says so. Sony broke down the same way that they are dismantling Bungie right now. Same playback. No doubt that this was their intention from the jump. No, or they wouldn't have signed that deal. And it was smart that Sony signed that deal. Bungie thought Sony was stupid. Bungie thought Sony was stupid. Jim Ryan was stupid. Hold on one second. Jim Ryan was stupid, but Sony wasn't. Sony put out a hell of a deal, and it's the only thing that could salvage this whole thing. Because I think the center of live service excellence, I think that's a great idea. Why? Because it takes the need of making live service games out of the hands of your most talented developers that are experts at something else. Let Bungie partner with people and do that. There's so many fucking people at Bungie. You could deploy like 5 teams. Let me give you guys a secret. There was a porting house. Who was the team that ported developers? There was developers that ported Cyberpunk 2077 to Stadia. Because you guys know it wasn't CD Projekt Red that ported that. It was Q-Lock. And there was a bunch of us when we were covering Stadia, we kept telling Google, buy fucking Q-Lock. And just make them engineers. Like, don't even call them developers, make them engineers. Because here's what it was. After you let go somebody, you can't, like, say for instance, I work for Cold Blood. And this is in the United States. Say I work for Cold Blood. And Cold Blood, me and Corey Massey work for Cold Blood, and then Cold Blood lets both of us go. He's like, okay, me and Corey are chefs in his restaurant, and he's like, I don't need any more sushi chefs. You guys are gone, right? Cold Blood then can't go and hire a new sushi chef. to replace us. You can't replace a position that you laid off. By law, if you lay someone off and they qualify for unemployment, the reasoning is you laid them off because you don't need that position. It has nothing to do with the person. You just don't need that position anymore. So you can't lay that person off. They get paid by the state and then you replace them. No, you got, if it was about the person, then you were supposed to put them through corrective action and get them terminated. And then they wouldn't be a burden on the state. But because to no fault of their own, you just happen to no longer need the position, the state will reimburse you for X amount of time, depending upon how long you were there. You'll get a severance package, all that stuff. That's why there are laws around laying people off. So I knew that. A lot of people that talk games don't know shit about business, so they didn't know that. But I was like, look, if you guys got rid of these studios because you felt like that the Stadia was burning money that it couldn't recoup, and that the biggest problem was people didn't want to bring their games to your platform because it was too time consuming, hire Q-Lock. They made the best port for your fucking platform. Buy them. Buy them. Buy them. And they didn't. Tencent bought them. So if they would have had Q-Lock could have worked on Outriders. There's so many games that Q-Lock could have worked on and brought to the platform to try to help it somehow. But Q-Lock did wonders for Stadia. Like Stadia probably would have died in 2022 if it wasn't for Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk showed that there was a glimmer of hope. It probably would have died in 2022. Because there was internal strife. That's a whole nother pocket. I don't want to get into that shit. That's what I surmised based off of what I heard. They probably would have died in 2022 if they weren't given a little bit of hope that they can get close to some type of goal with Cyberpunk, right? Bungie has enough people in it where they could deploy 5 Q-Locks. Like, let me see here. How many? Shit. Q-Lock is, according, it has previously worked on Dark Souls Remastered. Look at that. The Dark Souls, Q-Lock is no fucking joke. So Q-Lock worked on Dark Souls Remastered. They put Hellblade on Switch and the PC versions of Mortal Kombat 11 and Injustice 2. How many devs does Q-Lock, and nothing against any other porting house, but Q-Lock might be the premier. Well, they have Q-Lock has over 800 people. Holy shit. Okay, I didn't realize they were that big. How many people at Bungie? Okay, Bungie has 850 people. That Bungie should be working like Q-Lock. Bungie should be co-developing games and porting games, well, not necessarily porting games, but co-developing games and ideas with different developers. Like when it came to Cyberpunk, the people at Q-Lock just worked with CD Projekt Red, looked at what they wanted, looked at the source code, and ported the game themselves. They had a division. Not all 800 people worked on that, but they sent a slither of those people over to work on the game. That's what Bungie should be doing. Bungie should be, maybe consulting the original IP developers. If it's originally a single player game, then they work in tandem with an outside group and then they develop the game. That's what the fuck Bungie should be doing. But instead, Bungie is they're still in assets. I had a conversation with my son the other day, and shout out to my son. He's a soldier. He's a soldier. He's going through some medical stuff right now that just came out of nowhere. He's been dealing with it the last few years, and finally he's been able to adjust through it. Right. So he called me up last night, not last night, a couple nights ago, because he found out that I had to go back into work. He's like, he's like, you ain't liking that, is you? So me and him had a good conversation, and then he's like, Dad, he makes games. So he's like, he's working on a game. And he said one of the people that he was working with on the game, they make games independently. So he said that one of the games he was working on, that one of the guys that he was working with wanted to take assets from somewhere else. And he's like, no, we can't do that. And he said the guy was trying to break it down to him on how you could steal an asset, alter it enough, and then still use it. And he's like, no, we're not doing that. He said, we just got to buy the assets. So he was talking to me about how they could set up a business account, best way to, buy the assets, online and work on some shit, and buy assets legitimately, and then change the assets they buy legitimately, you know what I mean, for their game. And I was having that conversation with him, and then the following day, this whole shit with Bungie hit. And I'm sitting there thinking, you have to be the lowest of the fucking low. You really have to be a piece of shit to go and do this. Let's pull this up. This isn't just fonts, it says. It's aesthetics vibe, the soul of the game, it's color, choices, symbology. It's someone way of looking at the world, an entire alphabet of language. So these are all the assets from Marathon that they took, right? And that they're using in the game that they took from someone else. And it seems like that an entity claiming that they're associated, I guess the development account from Bungie claims that someone that was working for them stole the assets. This is crazy. Bungie, I don't know what you guys think. And again, my PlayStation people, I feel like I gotta put this disclaimer up. There's no need to cap for PlayStation. They have no competition. They won. Matter of fact, let me do this. And let me set up this warning. Warning. Oh shit. Yeah, there's no need to cap for PlayStation anymore. They won. Cold Blood, I don't know if you're still there. I know it's late there. We're about to wrap up.
Yeah, I am.
What are your thoughts on this whole thing with Bungie, man?
Well, when I said Bungie are bums, everybody said, nah, they are the professionals in live service gaming. And that they did the right thing with the factions too and shit. Like telling Naughty Dog of all people how to make a fucking game. When I said that's fucking crazy, everybody was like, why? But Bungie is great with Destiny. Yeah, where is Destiny now?
Yeah.
It's fucking almost dead at this point. Like, most people don't talk about Destiny anymore. Their next game is, let's be honest, a 99% fucking failure rate. Like, Marathon has 1% chance to survive if all of a sudden everybody decides, oh my god, extraction shooters are the best thing ever. Like, maybe, but goddamn, that is the lowest possibility I ever see for a game to survive. I did not even think Concord is gonna be that bad. Imagine that shit.
Yeah.
When Concord was about to release, I said, well, it's probably gonna be okay title at best.
Mm-hmm.
Like, some people gonna play it, but goddamn, bro, them marathon numbers are fucking spooky.
Mm-hmm.
They are spooky as hell, and most people already said, fuck that game.
Yeah.
That alpha did nothing but just made it made sure that those people that weren't interested are definitely not interested now.
Well, yeah. You would never. Oh shit. Oh god. Oh lord.
And if Marathon fails as a game, I think Bungie as a company is done.
Yeah.
They will be probably dissolved, or I don't know, the studio closes and a new studio takes over with all the equipment they had.
Mm-hmm.
So, but something will happen with Bungie.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, it's gonna be negative, not positive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I cannot see a positive outcome from Marathon. Not at all. And now that they also have to apologize to some fucking nobody
oh my God.
that made their art, that is just embarrassing, bro. Pathetic. You are a multi-billion-dollar developer, and you steal assets from some indie fucking nobodies.
That's crazy.
Oh my God.
Oh my fucking God. That's
why Marathon, bro. That's why Marathon looks so fucking uninspiring.
Yeah.
There you have your answer.
God. My God. That is so embarrassing. So embarrassing that you have a company like PlayStation. Look, let's forget about. Let's look beyond Jim Ryan and Herman Hulst and Hiroki Totoki. Because I'm not saying that Jim Ryan particularly, he did a lot of good shit. Don't get me wrong. I just feel like the ABK thing will be the albatross around his neck, as far as when people weigh pros and cons to his tenure. But fuck all that. PlayStation in general, regardless if they have slips and bruises or whatever, when you're looking at PlayStation, I mean, yeah, they did have great financials, despite a lot of these hiccups, they're still doing great. But I do frame that in how is that working out for you as a gamer. But I'm not gonna sit here and act like I hate my PlayStation or it's awful. All that. No, absolutely not. That's no. I'm just saying there's problems that need to be addressed, and then they need the pressure cooker of our watchful eye to ensure that they get addressed, because they have no competition now. Times are more dangerous than ever. But just looking at PlayStation's pedigree, this is embarrassing. Like, I'm going to be honest with you, Cold Blood, before Marathon even gets axed or whatever, you guys tell me if you think I'm bloviating. This is more embarrassing than Concord. You stole assets, you stole assets from Bippity Boo or whoever the fuck is out there. And I'm not trying to be mean to the person that made it, but you are a huge 850 employees. You were just purchased for what was it, like 3.6 billion or something like that? You are one of the biggest live service developers ever. And you're stealing assets from some Joe Schmo out there. If I'm Sony, I want Bungie's name to be dismantled. I want Bungie destroyed. I don't even give a fuck if I don't even know what to do with them yet. I eradicate the name Bungie. I just call it Empty for now, the Empty Company, and I'll figure out a name later. I want any semblance of Bungie destroyed because this is disgusting. This is repulsive. We are an industry, we are a community of ingenuity, of using, this is an art. What artist sit next to another painter and sitting there watching them draw and emulating what the fuck they're doing? This is an art. It is not your job to defend their bottom line. If I'm Sony, I am dismantling Bungie. Bungie exists no more. You guys can come into work and be business as usual, but you're not Bungie anymore. That name is gone. Then I figure out what the fuck I'm gonna do with you. Center of Live Service Excellence, I turn you to a bunch of Q-locks, or I don't know what the fuck I do. But to me, this is so scandalous. The only other thing that I think is embarrassing for PlayStation within its lifetime is the DDoS attack of the PlayStation 3 era. That's the only other thing. Bungie has come aboard and has been nothing but an embarrassment since their arrival. But there's lemonade there. I'm extracting the lemonade ASAP. I'm tossing out the executive leadership. I'm taking those development teams. I'm destroying that name. Fuck that name. I would actually, during Hiroki, I would force Hiroki Totoki to spit on the Bungie logo and toss out a fucking window. You guys have another name. This is utterly disgusting. And Bungie is a shit company. They may have great talent, but this makes no sense. And like Cold Blood just said, this is why the aesthetics of the game look so uninspiring. I mean, yeah, it looked cool when you fucking sat down and made a cutscene out of the assets that you fucking stole. Yeah, it looked cool after that. But the game itself just looked uninspiring. No, I totally agree, BV. It's time to take them over. I don't feel, and a lot of you Bungie apologists that are out there that are like, no, I fuck y'all. I don't care about y'all. And I have the righteous indignation to say that. I was one of the original Destiny nutcases out there. Shit. I almost took my kids from me. I played that fucking game so much. I'm all on the Destiny lore when the first one came out. I'm not talking from an experience. I know what Bungie is capable of technically, but from a leadership and an exec level, they are fucking scum. Hiroki Totoki, Hiroki talked all that shit. Hiroki Totoki, with all your baggage and a lot of the dumb shit that you're doing and sitting there sounding like Phil Spencer, here's where you can extrapolate the one time where I felt like you did a good job and you can really do something meaningful. The only time that I clapped for you, my friend, is when you talked that shit on Bungie. When you were like, look, they seem like they got talent, but that leadership, and I'm paraphrasing here. Wrap that up in a nice bow, my friend. Finish the job. Take that fucking make an announcement. We officially have decided that we're disbanding Bungie. They're becoming a PlayStation studio, the Center of Live Service Excellence, and come up with a name for them. Like we have a Center of Live Service Excellence, which is comprised of our internal technicians, our developers that work with external sources, and our relationship people and executives there. And then what I would do is, just like how QLock has their own name, come up with a name for them. I don't know, circles, square, X, whatever you want to call them. Astrolock, I don't know. That sounds nasty. But you come up with a name for the developers, the QLock version that you're going to turn a lot of these Bungie developers into. Hiroki, you come out there and you do that. Now I know Nishino's in charge, but like this is a stain on PlayStation and Sony. I feel like you and Nishino and Herman Holtz, y'all come out in tandem. Y'all hand around the Bungie logo and y'all spit on that motherfucker. You toss it out a window. You come up with their new name. It's the Center of Live Service Excellence, but within that, here is our mobile development or rapid development team, and y'all come up with the name for the developers that are going to emulate what QLock does. And there you go. Oh shit. We got hold on. I forgot Cold Blood that Doriega was a Destiny nut. Here, what did he say? He says, I refuse to take part in that. Everyday gaming is made to be not to be fun, not politics like elite clans running out here. No, Doriega, that's disgusting. Doriega, this is not about politics. This is about decency. This goes against everything. And when a big conglomerate can sit there and go to the small guy, take from them at reckless abandon, and just do a whole bunch of dumb shit, it needs to be addressed. It's not about politics. Trucknet is laughing at live service. Excellent. No, that's the name. That's the name of their group. So hold on. I'm not saying it 100% accurate, but it's SIE.
Nah, Trucknet is not laughing, bro. Nah.
Oh, he's not. Oh.
What? No. I mean, he doesn't dare to laugh, right? Because his favorite company is no way better than fucking PlayStation right now. Yeah. Oh yeah, here it goes right here. Yeah, they're not even in the conversation. Here it goes right here, Trucknet. He thinks that I made that up. No, I'm just saying this. Just rapidly deploy them. Stop. It's called Sony and Bungie will create the live service center of excellence once acquisition closes. So this was something that was part of the deal anyway. But what Sony said to themselves is like, if y'all motherfuckers, y'all ain't gonna play us like you did Activision Blizzard and anybody else. If you don't hit your milestones with us, we're gonna absorb you into this. And that's what Sony started to do. They started absorbing them into the service center of excellence, or a live service center of excellence. And then remember, they started absorbing them into SIE. They started creating new development teams with them, with some Bungie employees. I just say, just get rid of Bungie. Get rid of Bungie, right? Here's what you do. You get rid of Bungie. You take some of those employees and you make them the IP managers of Destiny. That's what you do. You make them the IP managers of Destiny.
So Destiny is your internal IP. You don't need to work with an external IP on Destiny. You have some internal. Now maybe what you do is you do get some outside help, because Bungie has done that before to help with Destiny. But I would say you take about 150 people and you make them the IP managers of Destiny, right? Where they're combing over ideas and new seasonal content or whatever. That's their job. They're concept people or whatever, and they do some slight development or whatever. Fine, you do that. The other 700 people, they get absorbed into this live service center of excellence, and they get broken up into small groups that do what QLOC does. So what ends up happening is Bungie gets disbanded, and you take 100, maybe 150 max people from Bungie, and they do the planning for Destiny or whatever, right? And then I guess this other IP that they have. But then the full weight of the development goes to the live service center of excellence. You let them develop it, and you guys work on the concepts. Is it way better? Sea of Piss is still going strong 7 years later. PlayStation had to save Sea of Piss. High on Life says the same thing is going to happen to them, like Japan Studio, where they spin off a portion of the studio. Yeah, that's what I think they need to do. Just pull the scab off. Get rid of Bungie. Destroy their name. And Doriega, I know this hurts you, my friend, but I'm sorry, Bungie is a shit company. They're dog shit. No, they're a company. They're shit. They have talent, and they tried to pilfer the wrong group. And if I'm Sony, I'm sending that message. This is disgusting. This is disgusting what they did. And it's so reckless. Like, why would you do something like this so recklessly? So recklessly. Why would you do this? And why what would they say? It was a temporary employee. Why would a temporary employee be able to present you with assets or present you with the designs that no one goes on the internet and vets? My 19-year-old son just called me up and told me how he vetted his other partner. My 19-year-old can do that, and you, a group of 850 employees, couldn't do that? Like, stop. What are we talking about here? Bungie is a shit company. They need to be disbanded, and this is just repulsive. And I would be saying this if they were owned by Xbox, Nintendo. It doesn't matter. This just is bad. But what makes it really bad is because Sony's already stumbling all over themselves when it comes to live service. They have brand recognition. They have a pedigree, and these motherfuckers just won't stop in their fuckery. They admitted that they lied to Sony in the acquisition about their value. They just kept fucking up over and over again, not meeting deadlines. And now they pull this. It's like, instead of you doing better, you just keep getting progressively worse. Things are not going to change as Bungie. Fucking get rid of them. Take 150 to manage these IPs that you've absorbed through legacy Bungie, and have these 150 people manage the IPs and work with their assigned team from the live service center of excellence to develop these IPs or continue development on them. That's it. He says, I'll bow when you bow to letting Division 2 go. Ubisoft ain't a good company either. Don't get me started on them. But what assets did Massive take from anybody? And I'm not talking about Sony. So you're not comparing apples and oranges, Doriega. You said Ubisoft is a bad company. Okay. Ubisoft in this scenario would be Sony. I'm not talking about the parent company. I'm talking about the developer just being a shit developer and a shit company. Massive hasn't done anything like that. The only thing Massive is guilty of is, playing along with Ubisoft's gimmick with Avatar and Star Wars. But they were following directives. What assets is Division 2 still? So, yeah, Sony needs to stop the bleeding with their live service games. It's horrific. It's bad. They really need to get a grip on this. They need to blossom this live service center of excellence immediately. Do it with Bungie staff, but award new leadership over this staff and start looking at these live service games and let the center of live service excellence handle these titles or work on these titles. You might want to have IP managers that go over content and help script content or whatever, but the development and shit like that should be done by this team. But you got to do something immediately, and I feel like the most immediate thing you got to address, even before Haven, is Bungie. Just dismantle them. Period. All right, we're gonna open up for the next 10 minutes and we're gonna get out of here. I am going to open up the speech chat. So again,
Faded Blaze said, Sony starting to speak Phil Spencer language. They looking at the MAU from Microsoft games on their platform.
Oh, damn. Yeah, they got to stop. They got to stop with this MAU bullshit. But yeah, if you're a member, you get to use the speak command. Just do exclamation speak. I'll show you guys right here. Exclamation speak and type your message.
Me said, don't cry, Doriega, lol.
Don't cry, Doriega. But Bungie's still around at least for the next 24 hours. Maybe. Yeah, I mean.
Moss.
Uh-huh.
What do you think? How many PS5 Pros got sold so far?
I don't know how many have gotten sold so far, but if I had to guess how many Pros got sold after Xbox raises prices, I would say that they probably saw like a 15 to 20% bump in sales, at least.
Well, is the PS5 Pro at 10
Eat
million?
the sneak. Said,
I don't know. 10 million yet?
MM2K do a console/PC ownership poll. I'm curious.
Do a PC slash. I think most of these modes.
You know what Doriega told me?
What's that?
The PS5 Pro sold already over 50 million consoles.
He said the PS5 Pro sold over 15 million consoles. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Let's do the math.
The math doesn't math because when the PS5 Pro came out, the PlayStation 5 sold about 67 million or something. They are not even at 80 million yet. And he's talking about the Pro sold already 50 million consoles.
Yeah, that's 20% now. No. That's 20% of the user base now.
Bro, I would even argue it didn't even sell 5 yet.
Yeah, I don't know. Like let me see here. They're at what are they at? They're at like 73 million now, right?
No, I think it's higher now.
I would say, I'm going to say, I don't think it's sold 10 yet. I would say it's close to 7. That's my guess. I think it's close to 7. Especially now. I would say like 6. And again, I don't know. I mean, this is just an educated guess. I would say like 6.7 million is creeping up to 7 million. Yeah, but no, but
they try to gaslight me into thinking that the Pro is already way beyond the PS4 Pro sales.
No, there was wasn't there a report that came out and said that it was slightly underperforming the Pro, which PlayStation doesn't mind. They said it was going to do that, but because of the price, but they were happy with its trajectory.
That's what I said, but them bums in Discord try to tell me otherwise.
No, it's not that much. It could have been closer to 10 if they didn't let Digital Foundry. See, PlayStation fucked that. We gotta be real here. PlayStation fucked it up by letting Digital Foundry do it. Why? Because when Digital Foundry decided, look, we now want to placate to the PC audience, and they started, well, now that we think about the Hogwarts Legacy, it wasn't that impressive. And then Sony, again, they're going to get this work today. They did it themselves and they still haven't learned their lesson, giving these patches away to motherfuckers that don't deserve it. You don't have to do... This is what PlayStation and I can't believe Mark Cerny doesn't even understand this.
Juice said, "Not what you said, Boom Blood Fa."
Boom Blood. Oh, they got all these nicknames for you.
Bro, they are stupid. I said it didn't even sell 5 million yet. So what the fuck? They're still saying it.
Yeah, I think 10%. Which, if they sold 7.7 million, I'm going to play it safe. I'm just going to still take it down a million. I'm going to say like 6.7. Yeah, I would say around 10% is probably where it's hovering around. But yeah, 15 million, no. It has now, when Grand Theft Auto comes out next year, and if that rumored PSSR version 2, which a lot of people are speculating that might be coming out around the same time that now if that happens, I easily see them, getting close to 15 million. But and that's okay if it didn't hit, if it's around 10%. This is what they expected. But TruckNet, you gotta be careful, brother. Because the PlayStation 5 Pro probably sold more in 2024 than Xbox did the entire year. So you gotta be You gotta be careful, bro. They probably sold more pros than Xbox did the entire fucking year of 2024. So you gotta be careful, bro.
Nutabuta 18-24's channel said, he mad for the gang up.
Yeah, GTA 6 to 60 to 120 on the PS5 Pro. No, I don't know about 120. I don't know about that. Now, hold on now. Now, again, if that PSSR 2 it is coming out and it's cracked up, everything that is cracked up to be, you know, I can see a stable 60. That, you know, it keeping a flat 60. As far as 120, I don't know. But again, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's all in this. And I'm not going to sit there and pretend to be the expert. I don't know. Yeah, but no, go ahead.
Everybody was lying that GTA 6 was $2 billion budget.
Yeah, that was some IGN shit. Is that what they were saying in the Discord?
No, I mean, it was the lie for this whole generation that is going to be $2 billion.
Mm-hmm.
But now we hear $1 billion.
Yeah.
Sean Nathan said,
but even then,
I hope the PS5 gets to hit 60 FPS.
That better. But I'm like, what are you doing with $1 billion? Like, what is costing so much, Moss? Marketing?
Well, I don't know. How long was this game in development?
Well, apparently since 2018.
Okay. I mean, it's basically, damn it. It's basically, it's your employees. That's what, you know, all that development, like they're not saying upload the ray tracing and that's going to cost $75,000 per second. No, it's they're basing it off of employees, how many employees they have and what they guesstimate to be their employees.
Sean Nathan said, $800 and can't hit 60 is crazy.
Oh, shit. Well, yeah, that is. But like I
said, Sony better storm their fucking offices when they tell them it's only going to be 30 on the Pro. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you right now. This would be the biggest L the Pro can get.
Yeah. That would be a huge L.
Look, even a Naughty Dog game being only 30 FPS wouldn't be as much of an L as GTA 6.
Mm-hmm.
But I have full faith in Rockstar to do right by the customer and give us the fucking 60 FPS mode.
Well, I think it'll be a combination of things. I think it'll be the engineers at Sony. Like, I feel like this is probably their biggest project. It would be insane if it wasn't. Like, their engineers better have cots over there at Rockstar. You know what I'm saying? Eating pizza for dinner until, you know, this shit's ready. I can't see another way. Yeah, it's everything: employees, marketing, graphics. Well, I mean, when you say graphics, Black Bleach, it would be licensing. Like, they don't pay. Oh, yeah, we got to add a chair in here. Yeah, so that's gonna be $100.
I'm only asking that because GTA 5 didn't cost anywhere near that. That's why I'm asking. What would be $1 billion? What are they doing with that shit? That, in my opinion, that is way too much for a game.
Well, considering if everything that they say is happening, where, well, you get it's the bulk of it is the employees and the coding that's involved. There would be so much coding involved for the people to do the things that they say that the NPCs do, and then the coding for the visuals.
Like how many employees do they have?
Oh no, I don't. Well, let me see here. But they're outsourcing a lot of it. Rockstar. They're outsourcing a lot of it. Oh, what? As of, nah, that's not right. All studios use a Rockstar. It says as of 2018, the company employs more than 2,000 people across all offices. And then this thing says 6,000 people.
Oh my God. Well, okay, I take it back. If that is true, it's very appropriate.
Then how many people are Rockstar? Then this site is saying 4,900. I don't know. That's where they're probably, this says Rockstar has 2,000 employees. Oh no, this is statistics. And when did this come out? This is from Zippia. Okay, how come they don't have a date here? Okay, this Zippia company is claiming that they even have their breakdown between employees and race and all other stuff. What year is this? Doesn't even tell you the year, but at some point in time, here, let me put this up here. Rockstar had 2,000 employees. I don't know why this site doesn't give you a date. Here it goes right here. Number of employees are saying 2001. They say the average salary of a Rockstar employee is $85,000. So let's see. We can probably come up with the IGN math right here, which I would never post an article like this, because this is just, these are guesstimates. If there's 2,000 employees, 2001, there's 2001 employees. Come on, man. I got to do that over again. 2001 employees times, they're saying they make $85,145 a year. So that's $340 million a year. But but again, how many of these people worked on GTA 6 versus just work on GTA 5? You see what I'm saying? But okay, so and then it was in development since 2018. So that's 8 years. Why did times, hold on, whoa, something, what the frick is going on here? 2001 times 85,145. Okay, something's going on with my calculator. Times 85,145. Okay, times 8 years. So I get 1.3 billion. But that's basing it off of the salary, assuming that every Rockstar employee from this time period is working on GTA 6. So I don't know where IGN got their numbers from, I think it was a very egregious article to put out there, but it just lets you know why they're IGN, because you just can't spell ignorant without IGN. Because we don't know how many employees worked on GTA 6 versus who was supporting GTA 5. GTA 5 is still getting content to this day, so everybody can't be working on GTA 6. You know what I'm saying? That's impossible. All right, y'all. Well, we're at the 8 o'clock mark. Officially 3 hours into this. Thank everybody for coming through and welcoming us back. Like I said, our new schedule started already, so be on the lookout. Tuesday will be the next podcast. It will be starting at 5 p.m. And it'll be over on Twitch. So make sure that you because we got a lot of swanky stuff going on over at Twitch. And I did change the name. It's now HNDC TV. It's not HNDC Hub. So it's twitch.tv/HNDC TV. Make sure that you follow us there. And if you support the platform, if you got a Prime sub, hit us up with your Prime sub over there. That goes a long way to support the platform. We got a lot of cool stuff happening over there. We got a nice little setup. You guys will see it on Tuesday. As far as game streams are concerned, I will try one on Thursdays. I might be able to squeeze one out on Thursdays. I don't know. We'll see. But the only definites that I can give you is a Tuesday podcast, a Friday podcast, videos on YouTube throughout the week. So the Tuesday podcast will be on Twitch. The Friday podcast will be here in our podcast. You will get YouTube videos throughout the week. So you'll get YouTube videos Monday and Wednesday and likely on Thursday as well. And you're still going to get member content Monday through Friday. I now, thank goodness I started doing this already. So while I'm on lunch break or whatever, I can go and just record like a 20-minute member video on my phone and upload it so you guys can get member content every day. So you're still going to get your member content. The only thing is that, you're going to get videos and in a row podcast over here. You'll get game streams and in a row mic check over on Twitch. You're definitely going to want to follow us on Twitch. And stay tuned for the content. If you're a member over here, this is another reason why to become a member. If you're a member over here and you want to do it at the $3.99 level, $3.99 gives you access to everything. $4.99 is just for gifted. If somebody wants to gift it, we can't go lower than $4.99 because YouTube won't let us. But at if you want to support yourself at $3.99, you'll get access to everything.
Geek the Sneak said, make sure you do a member poll for consoles/PC ownership.
Oh, okay. We'll do that. Or why not just do a public poll? Or you want it to be a member poll, Geek? We can do that. Yeah, we can do that on YouTube. I'll set the poll up so members you'll be on the lookout for a poll for members ownership.
What poll?
PC over console. He wants to know to see the split between PC and console. But yeah, check us out over there. And we will see you guys next week. Until then, have a wonderful gaming day. Peace.